The government were dragged kicking and screaming to repeal. You know, if you look back at any of the government interviews, they said, I went on a personal journey and I've changed my opinion. You went on a what? Like, what are you actually on about? What are you on about? Like, it's insane. And then had the neck to stand at the front of the march when we passed repeal in this country. They were forced by their voting base. That's what they realised was going to actually happen. Like, there was a whole radicalisation of young women in this country. It's what, like, radicalised so many people that I talk to now, or that are members of my party as well. Like, even talk about water charges, you know. The government were bringing that in. They were going to charge you for your water. These communities came out and said, that's not going to happen. 150,000 people out marching on the streets, like the biggest marches that we've ever seen. Striking, like, you know, taking real action. And we won that battle, you know, after they tried to lock up 10 people from my community for protesting, you know.
Really?
Yeah, Kieran and my party, like, if you look up the Jobstown trials, they tried to lock them up for blocking Joan Burton's car, and they were obviously acquitted, but they were going to be sentenced to a heavy sentence, like, you know. But that was people, communities coming together on the ground, grassroots work, organising in a real way against the government and coming together, and they won that as well. You know, any changes isn't going to come from asking the very government that has taken away those things that are blocking those rights, you know, going to the government, oh, pretty please, will you sort out housing, when they're in cahoots with the big developers and the vulture funds, you know. They rely on the private market, and they say that the private market will sort out housing. It has not sorted out housing. People are in absolute dire homeless situations, you know, children stuck in hotel rooms, children with additional needs. Like, the emails that that you get as a public representative with some of the casework, like, you know, it break your heart that people are going through this in the community. And then you have them going, oh, well, you know, we're the richest country in Europe, it's great, isn't it, we're doing so good. We're the richest country in Europe, and people are actually living in squalor. Like, you know, there's people living in tents around this community as well. Like, it's just absolutely insane to see that. So the real change needs to come from below. The government aren't going to hand it to us. We need to actually fight for it and pressure them for it, and even not to keep rambling, but even what happened today with Ireland recognising Palestine, the state of Palestine, obviously a little too late in my eyes as well. Like, you know, activists have been calling for this for years, but it's a good thing, because this was like a demand of the movement, you know, the Palestinian solidarity movement that's been taking place in Ireland for the past couple of months now have demanded not only this, you know, obviously a ceasefire and the expulsion of the Israeli ambassador, but to recognise Palestine as a state. And that's why they've done this, you know, from pressure from below. And we've seen it even with the ideas around expelling the Israeli ambassador. Not just the government parties, Sinn Féin were forcing to change in their position on that, because their membership and their supporters and just activists on the street and Palestinians said, this is what we actually call for. So they were forced to change their position on that. So it shows what can actually do when there is pressure from below.